So when we have mental fog or brain fatigue, the sense that we can't bring the neurons together, as we say, what fires together, wires together, and survives together. But if things aren't firing together, it's feeling difficult to have things wire together. And then you might feel like, oh my gosh, where is my day going? How am I going to get focused? What am I going to do? How do I get back home? So this practice is about getting you back home. And the first half of the practice is going to be pranayama for that specific purpose. And the second half of the practice includes some work into your hips and your pelvis, and then a seated practice really specifically to get you back down into your pelvis, into that pelvic basin that is your home. We'll also use a practice to open up the chest, neck, heart, and throat, and called reverse table pose or purvottanasana, looking at that practice as a way to release the desk or the small device, or release the phone from your posture, and to increase your ability to breathe diaphragmatically and not from the secondary respiratory muscles up and through here. Okay, as always, don't forget to hit the subscribe channel, click like for the videos that work for you, and leave me questions and comments down below. I look forward to hearing from you. Let's get into the practice now. Welcome for practice. We were just discussing some of the issues that can come when you have long COVID or brain fog, or in my case, I have a concussion. So we're going to have a practice that helps to wake up the brain through the breath. And then we'll do a practice that's very grounding for the hips and the pelvis. So please take a comfortable seat. You can rest your hands in your lap. You're welcome to close your eyes. And if you are someone who has struggled with brain fog, long COVID, concussions, difficulty with attention, concentration, memory, a feeling of fatigue, where your thoughts or your brain don't feel like they're going to get traction, in any of those realms, you may also have experienced things like headaches, insomnia, or changes in your digestion. But we're going to address those symptoms right now through mindfulness and the breath, looking at awakening the neocortex a bit and kind of right-sizing which parts of the brain we're coming from, that is lizard brain, limbic brain, or neocortex. And then we'll see where the practice takes us from that orientation. So please lengthen the crown of your skull towards the sky. Lift your upper palate, that is the roof of your mouth. Loosen the hinge of your jaw. Let the lower jaw drop down from the upper jaw. Give a slight lift to your heart, but deeply relax your shoulders, your shoulder blades, the base of your neck, and the weight of your arms, hands, fingers, and thumbs. And then welcome your breathing to drop down lower than your heart, lower than your solar plexus, and down into the base of your abdomen. Since you are experienced students of yoga, let's come into the Ujjayi breath without explanation. If someone's watching this on YouTube and needs to understand Ujjayi breathing, you can check for the link for a practice here that introduces that. When you come into Ujjayi, let it be silky and smooth, almost like a whisper that you can barely hear, but you are aware that it's there. You sense the breath, though it's coming in through the nose, try to sense it moving through the base of your throat. Cultivate where the inhale and the exhale are equally smooth, equal in duration. Don't force that, but cultivate towards it. And allow each of them to sort of hover in or float in the silence of the pause. That is inhale, pause, and exhale, pause. Now, as you make this effort, you are getting kind of the news of your body, the news of your mind and your breath. That is, how easeful is the breath to do? How challenging is it? But with respect, consideration, compassion for all of that, please release the breath practice and raise your hands to your heart. We'll chant Asatoma Satgamaya. Om Asatoma Satgamaya. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Satgamaya. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Satgamaya. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. And with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Please release your hands momentarily, open your eyes. So we'll do a couple practices that help to re-regulate O2 and CO2 first. And then we're going to do some practices directed at the neocortex. And then for the whole brain and this vibration capacity we have with practices like LUM and Bhramari. In the process, don't make yourself breathless at any point. That won't be helpful. Right. So let's start with a blowing off practice where we can balance the O2-CO2 ratio in the body and the breath. That is very supportive for the brain as well. So please sit up straight and tall. We're going to begin with brisk inhale, brisk exhale about 10 times. Think of these as pretty big breath cycles. And then we're going to have the last exhale long, inhale to hold for a moment, exhale to slowly release. So let's begin. Exhale completely. Now inhale slowly, moving to inhale suspension. And release the hold and exhale very slowly, letting the breath go easefully and yet completely. During inhale suspension, you are using the bandhas, even though you're holding the in breath in. Use the low belly to snug in and up, brighten and puff up the chest, like Rajakapotasana, the puffed chest of the pigeon. Bring the chin slightly down and in. So you're going to use the bandhas during the suspension, then release those before you exhale. Let's repeat that practice. Exhale completely. Inhale slowly to suspension. Always release the suspension in your own timing and then exhale thoughtfully. Allow yourself to deeply relax. Now do a practice where we do 5 powerful exhales, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One long exhale, and they're going to be out through the mouth. With the inhale, you'll likely be able to enjoy the suspension a little bit longer. For the exhale, I want to be very specific. On the exhale, I'm going to ask you to purse your lips to make the exit pathway of the breath slower and pressured, using a pressurized opportunity here. We'll do that for the first half of the exhale only, and then you're going to sigh for the rest of the exhale. When I say the first half, let's think of it as the first half of the portion of the exhale. That'll be slower, and the second half is going to be like sighing. I want you to really relax and let that go. So you're going to cultivate the ability to slow down the first part of your exhale, but not to pressure the last part of the exhale at all. Okay, so 5 strong exhales, like blowing out a candle about this far in front of you. Breathe in through both nostrils. Go up to suspension. Release the bandhas when you're ready. Purse the lips. Exhale really slowly. When you get halfway to the end of the portion of the exhale, let the second half of the exhale be like sighing. As if you were really slowly letting the air out of a balloon, and then you decided to let the balloon go, right, in a playful sense. Now we're going to repeat that. Of course, you wait until you're not sensing the echo hasn't completed yet. So when the echo completes, then repeat. Breathe in through the nose. In your own timing, exhale. Allow your body to deeply relax. We'll repeat that one more time, please. Release in your own timing. So the next practice is to direct energy and attention into the neocortex and to give a boost through the sinus cavity, to give a boost to your neurotransmitters. They give you a little lift. So this is a double sniff. Inhale, like a little sniff like that. And what you'll do is perhaps 4 or 5, for some of you 6 or 7, double sniffs to get a complete inhalation. You just hold that momentarily now, and then let yourself exhale thoughtfully. So the exhale just going to be like a regular exhale. You're not thinking yoga exhale, but those double sniffs twice, twice, twice until you have a sense of a complete inhalation. Okay, so let's try that. The hold of the inhale is a little bit brief, and then the exhale is just like sighing out through the nose. Again, there's going to be like an echo on that experience, like the train goes by, the train is gone, but there's still an echo. So we don't start the next round until the echo is quiet. So in your own timing. And again, your inhale suspension is going to be brief. The exhale is like a sigh. Last one, when you're ready. I'm going to encourage you to be resting your attention at the sixth chakra, sometimes called the third eye. Let's think of it as also the neocortex and the place from where we gain context, perspective, and integration. We're focusing our mental attention there because we're going to do a Nadi Shodhana now. So that's going to be inhale left, exhale right, exhale left. So bring your hand up and bring the first two fingers into the center of the palm. Using your thumb and your ring finger, when we inhale left, I'm going to invite you to imagine nourishing the right brain. When you exhale right, imagine calming the left brain. When you inhale right, imagine vitalizing the left brain. And when you exhale left, imagine relaxing the right brain. So what you want to increase in the right brain is awe and empathy and wonder. What you want to decrease in the left brain is urgency, criticism, haste, perseveration. What you want to increase in the left brain is logic and an ability to see tasks ahead of you and to put them in order. What you want to decrease in the right brain is anxiety, fear, dread, or whatever you come up with. Okay, let's see how it goes. Gently close your right nostril. Begin with your inhale on the left side. And you'll exhale on the right side, of course, in your own timing. You'll continue with the breath. We always change the nostril after the inhalation. That might be a way to remember that for you. If you haven't yet, now it's a good time to start balancing your inhale with your exhale. You might want to recall that we lengthen the first portion of the exhale. That part is slowed down. We don't strain at the end of the exhale. You can complete with your next exhale through the left nostril and lower your right hand down. And we'll use Ujjayi breathing for the inhalation, and it'll be a smooth, simple Ujjayi. And then we're going to use Bhramari for the exhale. Just going to put my water glass back down. So for Bhramari, you're going to be closing the eyes with your middle two fingers. The pinkies and the index fingers are above and below that. Your thumbs will firmly close your ears. You'll not be able to hear me. I won't be able to hear you. And so we have this really patient Ujjayi inhalation, and then the exhale with Bhramari. The lips go between the teeth, and the vibration inside the mouth is said to open the upper palate, the back of the throat, and vibrate towards the pineal and the pituitary glands. It also increases the beneficial gases in our system. So we need nitric oxide, and we also want to have positive neurotransmitters for attention, energy, and concentration. So let's breathe in Ujjayi, and we'll do it 5 times total, but each of us at our own pace. When you have completed 5 of those, go ahead and rest your hands back in your lap. You're welcome to keep your eyes closed and your attention inward. It's possible that your resting breath will be very imperceptible right now. And I encourage you to get comfortable with that. Knowing that you have made shifts that are physiological, biochemical, maybe also mental, emotional, and spiritual. And to give deep respect for these processes in your body. And let's raise the hands to the heart to appreciate this, where we've come to in this practice. Thank you. And now we will move to the floor. So I'll back myself up and let me get that set up for you. So let's start with a wide stance. We're going to go down now into the pelvis and the seat. That's a very important place to know where your home is when you feel like your brain has gotten kind of wonky, to say the least. So come down to Prasarita Padottanasana. Place your feet so they are a leg length wide. As you come down, energize your leg muscles from your ankles up to your calves, your thighs, into your hips and your pelvis. But let the torso relax down like water. So you could imagine that the legs have this kind of earth element and the torso is more like water. To support the process of the breath to continue, let's walk the hands forward so that your fingertips are on the floor out in front or on a couple of blocks, or you could even use a chair seat. It doesn't have to be the floor. Everyone's flexibility is different. But as you walk the arms forward, it changes the orientation for your lungs and your respiratory muscles, your diaphragm, the intercostals, the scalenes that tend to try to get involved in the breath, and the pectoralis minor, and other muscles too. So as you stretch forward, notice that the diaphragm does become primary. Reach your hips back, and let's do a long, smooth inhale using Ujjayi breathing, and a long, smooth exhale, and pay close attention to how you tone the belly near to the pubic bone, especially towards the end of the exhale. When you next inhale, let's add a little arch to the spine. So draw the breath in, lift your heart, look forward, bring the chin forward, stretch your throat. As you exhale, imagine flexion for the spine. Let the torso come down, keep your arms forward, but go ahead and flex the spine to the extent that you're comfortable. And then inhale, undulate the spine forward so it's like cow pose, even though we're not in a quadruped specific position. And then exhale and move towards what would be like a cat pose spine. And do that twice more, please. Get a sense of the breath, stretching your body from the inside. So even the myofascial system within the torso can sense the stretch happening with the breath and the physical movement. And then complete your next exhale in this process. Walk your hands back towards your feet. Let's keep the left foot where it is, turn the right toes out, and deeply bend your right knee. Take your right hand up against your right knee to support, so the front leg will have this feeling of warrior two or side angle pose, which are familiar poses for you guys. And as you press into the right knee, keep your torso and the crown of your skull directed forward where you were a moment back. Now, when you press into the right knee here and you try to keep the torso going forward, some of you will find that you're stretching the right side of your waist, the right side of the rib cage. Even you can maybe feel like the right lower back, which is fine too. In addition to the upper inner right thigh, the right inner thigh, maybe the right hamstrings too. Okay, and then let's breathe in, straighten your right leg, rotate your foot in. Let's change hands, turn your left toes out, bend your left knee, place the left hand up against your left knee. Try to keep the left arm straight so you do have a sense of lengthening the left side of your torso. And of course, everyone has different lengths for the torso and the arms. So when I say try to keep your arms straight, you have to work within your own means. Let's keep the breath smooth so the Ujjayi is your companion right now. And then inhale, raise back up to center, turn the left toes in, and once more come to Prasarita Padottanasana. This time, reach around to clasp your hands at the small of your back. So interlace your fingers, roll the shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades in towards your spine and up towards your hips. Okay, so we want the head and neck to be relaxed, almost like that element of water once again, and the legs need to be firm and strong, and not everyone has the same flexibility. So if when you clasp your hands like this, your legs feel limited in flexibility, please bend your knees so that your torso does feel relaxed between the hips, inner thighs, and knees. You can even practice bending your knees if you have flexible legs, so you can feel the difference in doing it that way. Squeeze the shoulders back and keep the arms very vital. And with your next exhale, release the clasp of your hands, place your hands on your hips, and then inhale, rise up to standing. Come on up. And when you come up, let's go heel toe to center. And that should also sort of turn the lights on for you inside. Okay, please take a blanket or a bolster to sit on. When you get your seat, first come down. Let me ask you to try this. Put your heels on the bolster or the blanket and come down to squat in Malasana. So we can keep the inner edges of the feet together and let the knees go apart. Bring your torso down between the inner thighs. Walk your hands a little bit forward. And allow the hips to drop back. It's not that they're going to touch the floor right now, and there may be nothing for your hips to rest on at the moment, but allow them to drop back as you're reaching the torso forward. While keeping the inner edges of your feet together, the knees can keep widening apart, so you might sense you're even stretching your ankles, of course, the inner thighs, perhaps lower back. While keeping the legs where they are, walk your fingers to your right. And then walk your fingers to your left. Okay, and then walk back to center. So you got to know a little bit about your lower back there. Let's now turn the soles of the feet to touch each other and come down to Baddha Konasana. So when I turned my feet, magically my hips are now touching the same bolster that the outside edge of my heels are resting on. You may find that that's not possible for you. You have to put an extra blanket under your hips, or your feet need to go on the floor instead. But if you're able to come down, slide into Baddha Konasana. Keep the hips moving back, your torso coming forward. And let's sense the breath coming down into the pelvic basin. So you're really kind of bringing yourself back home. And then walk your hands back towards your ankles, and let's come to sit on the bolster now, not in Baddha Konasana, but we're going to sit in a pose called Siddhasana. So that means where you put the heels lined up. So I scooted to the front of my bolster. You can do the same, come to the front of your blanket. So with the knees wide like that and the heels lined up with the pubic bone, walk yourself forward any amount. Some of you are going to find you can come down to your elbows. Some will not be able to do that. It just depends on your genetics, your flexibility, how well you slept, what you eat, all the things that influence your joint health and happiness, or inflammation and unhappiness. So if when you come forward, you feel like, oh, there's no way I could get my hands or elbows to the floor, go ahead and put a couple of blocks there to make that closer. You know, I have my right foot in the front position, so I ought to have said that. So if your right foot is in the front position, go ahead and stay there. If it's not, please switch them. And then take your right hand to your right knee and add a twist to your right. Whatever amount of forward your torso has, use this little forward angle for your twist. Let's try to keep both hips back on the bolster. And then exhale and come down. Walk your right hand forward of your left hand, whether you're on blocks or on the floor. And keep both hips moving back towards the bolster. And then walk your hands to your left. Right hand still ahead of the left hand. You can place the left hand on the floor to help you kind of keep your right hip rooted. So if you press your left hand down into the floor, it'll guide your right hip to go back to its seat. Walk the right fingertips out and stretch into the right side waist, ascending colon, the intercostals, right kidney, the right side of your diaphragm. And then walk yourself up so that you're facing the same direction that your torso is going right now. So I'm facing towards my left leg, not straight on. And then bring your right hand across to your left knee. And as you bring it across, firmly fix your hand to be there. Twist a little bit to your left, but know that we're going to side bend to the right. So we just open the ascending colon. Now we're going to give it a squeeze. So twist left and side bend to your right. We're kind of moving around the inner organs right now, a little investigation inside. And as you side bend to your right, you're welcome to take the left arm and reach past your left ear. Please keep the left hip grounded. And then let's inhale, rise up and come to center. So hopefully you still have the right foot in front. We will switch them in just a moment, but let's listen for the echo of that in the body. Okay, let's put the right foot on the inside, left foot on the outside. So this is called Siddhasana. Siddha means powers or powerful pose. Go ahead and walk forward again, any amount that your body is able to. You may find that you could come down to your elbows or you need some blocks to support you. Let's keep both hips moving back towards the bolster or the blanket. And we're going to start with a little twist to the left. So what you could do is place your left hand on your left knee and twist to your left. Keeping the forward position of your torso. Imagine this twist is a little bit like, I sometimes think of it like a corkscrew. And you're going to include the lower belly, the internal organs, the mid belly, upper belly, rib cage, your heart, shoulder blades, and then your head. Now, keeping your right forearm supporting you, release the twist, walk your left hand forward. Let's keep the left hip back on the blanket or the bolster. And then walk your hands to your right so that the left hand's going to still stretch out. You can press into your right hand to help your left hip stay grounded. There should be like a little hint of twisting your spine to the right here already. So you can imagine the internal organs that you're giving nourishment to right now. Of course, you may just be enjoying how your hips feel to have some exploration and relief. So let's come up facing in the direction that your torso is going, which in my case is towards the right side of the room here, and then cross your left hand. You might secure your left wrist with your right hand, and as you add a little twist to your right, encourage the side bend down to your left. Let's keep the right hip grounded. And if you'd like to, you can raise your right arm past your right ear. So squeezing the left side of the waist, that is the descending colon. And then inhale, raise up to center and release, turn yourself to center and take notice of the echo that happens now, this echo. Okay, let's place both feet flat on the floor. So bend your knees and come forward of your bolster. You can keep it within reach, but put it so it's a little bit out of the way. Place your hands behind you on the floor so your fingers point towards your hips. Roll the shoulders back. Yeah. And in rolling the shoulders back like that, let's go ahead and bend the elbows a little bit so that what's going to happen is you're really moving the shoulders back. Bending the elbows is going to give you a relationship with your shoulders, whereas sometimes keeping the elbows straight, all you can feel is your wrists or the limitation of your shoulders. Okay? So as you press the shoulders back, lift your chest and your heart up and open your throat. Now, in some cases, what you're going to find is that you could go from here into reverse table pose. You've got the elbows bent, right? Press into your feet, press into your hands, raise your hips up. Take the head back. And then keeping your chest, heart, and throat open, shoulders back, lower your hips down, and rise up to sitting. Bring the right knee in, left leg out. Wrap your left hand around, right fingertips behind, and twist to your right. We do want the snugness of the thigh against the torso here. And then encourage your breath to go into the back hemisphere of the body. Yeah, and you can gaze over your right shoulder. Try to draw the right shoulder back. So you can think of widening your right collarbone from the center of the sternum out towards the edge of your shoulder. And then exhale. Now come to face forward, and bend both knees. Take the right hand behind you. Turn your palm so your fingers point behind you. Okay. Reach the left arm forward. And then inhale, raise up. So the right arm, you're going to keep that very strong. Press down into your right hand. Keep the shoulder drawn back. Reach through your left arm. Reach out through both knees. Energize your hips. And then keeping the right shoulder back as you exhale, lower your hips down and return to face forward. Now there might be an echo that you get to experience there. So as you face forward, pause and just listen. And we'll do the other side. So you're going to have the left knee in, right leg out. Okay. Twist to your left. Walk the left fingertips behind you. Rotate the torso and widen your left collarbone. So what we're doing in this position is trying to stretch the lungs, but also to stretch the muscles in the upper chest, the neck, the throat. So these secondary breathing muscles, which also tend to house our stress and tension. As we release those, my hope is that you're going to sense that your breathing is freed up. Going back to the more natural diaphragmatic breath. This pose also is helpful for digestion, this particular twist. And so take another breath in as you keep your twist to your left. And then exhale, rotate around to face forward. Turn your left hand to point backwards. Bend both knees. Take the right arm forward. So the left palm should be flat down. Roll your left shoulder back. Press into your heels. Raise up. Yep, there you go. And as you roll the left shoulder back, sweep your right arm past your right ear. Try to make your hips level. Stay with the strength of your left arm, your hips, your heels, your hamstrings. And then exhale and lower your hips down slowly. Okay, you're going to face forward again towards your knee. And then let's put the soles of the feet together and come once more into Baddha Konasana. And in your Baddha Konasana, think of returning yourself again towards your home, the home base in your hips and your pelvis. And then with all of that, please rise up to sitting. And let's take the bolster or the blanket to go under the knees. Really important to have Shavasana. It is a pose of integration. without which you've had a stretching practice and maybe some good benefits, but also the Shavasana is where you get this kind of mental integration process too. So this is my shawl, but I have said to you guys before, a shawl can also be your Shavasana blanket. It can be your headscarf when you need to cover up in a cold place. It can be your meditation shawl. It has many purposes. Okay, so let's take the arms out to the side. Allow the shoulders to drop back. Please bring your head to center. You can let the eyes close. And as you drop in, let's consider the element of the earth, the home to which we are all returned and from which we have all come. Allow yourself to drop the mind, the thoughts, any burdens that you're carrying, past, present, or future. Allow your body to deeply rest. You may support that rest by welcoming your mind to also be very still. And practice quieting your senses. So all of the senses come back home. Your mind comes back home. The body is right now your home. And the larger home on which we live is the earth. Notice the more deeply your body relaxes. Sometimes the heavier the limbs will feel. And you can also imagine your hands and feet getting heavier, like the quality of the earth. Allow the rest to go a little deeper now. Your body gets a sense of like the new foundational place of rest. Not a place that you visit, but a place that you can live from. Getting this as a memory of your new foundation from where you live, not just where you visit in Shavasana. Please wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bend your knees. Roll to your side. Please return to your seat. Your seat, make it restful and stable. And bring your hands to your lap if you like. Just noticing how things feel. Appreciate yourself for making the effort to be on your mat, to be in your practice. You can raise the hands to the heart, please. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. For sharing your practice. Before you go, don't forget to hit the subscribe button or the like button if the practice was helpful to you. And I do enjoy getting your comments and your questions too. Thank you so much. Namaste.